3, 2, 1, and sync. And sync. Okay. Alright, we are back after like, what, 7 fucking months? No introduction, no explanation, shit got in the way, but, I'm back. I'm gonna finish up this fucking game. Let's get a move on. Obviously, over such a long period of time, opinions do change. New things get discovered, and learned, of course. I still think this game is better than Eternal, but it's not good. There are still some grading issues, and there are some things I overlooked, and part of it is just being on the wrong computer. Because full screen is the only mode, shit lags like fuck on the computer I typically use. So this is the other computer in the house, and it works a lot better. And it'll become apparent why lag is such an important thing. Basically, it slows down some of the boss fights and makes them better. Some of the boss fights are actually really good when they're slowed down, and in actuality, some of them are way faster than they need to be. Let's see, what else? Other things I didn't know before. Missile Man stage is supposed to take place on a hangar, a ship hangar, like for housing missiles and stuff. It's supposed to take place on a fucking ship. I don't see how. Let's see what else. The dev Servadak is colorblind, probably in red and green if I had to guess. Quite common among men, I guess. I didn't notice. Colors aren't the game's weak point, I think. They don't always look Nest-like, but whatever. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, and the version that Shinryu played was, of course, the initial launch, which had some absolutely dogshit jumps and a couple odd positions here and there. And those really, really detracted from the general experience. I'm glad they were at least removed. And again, Servadak didn't pull a fucking page, so yeah. Better than Eternal, still not great. But enough about that. Let's do frickin' Skyman. The inspiration in this stage is pretty obvious. Crashman, Bombman, Airman, all the Sky stages. Water physics with these giant fans. The propeller enemies from Ombuds make a return. A couple enemies coming back. As the buzzsaw enemy isn't really, again, all that useful since you can kill it from a distance, but there is an unkillable variant in this stage, so on like one screen, so that's something cool. Let's see if I can, yeah. This game really could have, I still think it would have been cool if it had its own utility other than the Robot Master weapons, like just some kind of magnet beam type thing. I was thinking carry originally, but I saw those Mega Man 1 planning docs recently, and fucking Bondman's propeller. How about that for a utility? That would be cool. I don't know. It's certainly not offensively designed, this stage. Interesting enemy. Kind of wish it was polished and showed up a bit more. As it moves pretty slowly and sees in an isolated section. Feels pretty one-ish in that sense. Shit. I guess because they're used a lot more frequently, these shooting propeller enemies feel more like they belong to the stage, even though I think they were originally planned for Ombuds. That's conjecture, of course, but Skyman had its own set of enemies. kind of a bit slow with all the climbing. Here we can see the unkillable version of the enemy. Why are they all just unkillable? Like this? Because now you can't shoot it from a distance, and it's not completely useless. Kind of interesting how you can... It's not very Mega Man-like, but you can see the enemies on transitions, which helps when you're falling to the previous screen. So, I mean, this is a marginal improvement on... compared to, like, a Lagness stage. Even if you can say that's not a high bar to reach. It also has a really cool, well, some charm to it. It's one of the more interesting and more Mega Man-like stages, in my opinion. And part of that is due to its choice of enemies. And general aesthetics, I suppose. Yeah, Elecman, kind of an isolated screen of blocks like that one section of Elecman. Really not the kind of, like, thing I would imitate from Mega Man 1. If you're not gonna, like... I think I already mentioned that in Missile Man, but yeah, another one of those instances, not something I'd replicate. This is... It's funny, at the very least. I'd position them a little differently, and I'd, again, like with the ones in Sandman, I'd lengthen the radius by a bit, because it feels kind of... It's just like, don't touch the enemy, I guess. An interesting set of enemies. You are technically introduced to them ahead of time, since the first one is at the top. You're usually not going to go up there. There really should have been some kind of power-ups, though. So, as a reward for not falling down. Whatever. Tons Grenier, I think it's called. Nordic goats of some kind. Fits with the whole haha Norse god Mjolnir Thor. And that's it. I mean, it did have a nice holy shit section at the end. I don't feel the goats were used to the fullest effect, though. And has some nice platforming, I suppose. Just kind of all the cool ideas are at the end, I guess. And it's over. One of the things I do wish is, well, this game kind of imitated, well, this didn't really have to, but to add to the Mega Man 1 experience, repeating screens. And I mean, like, Elecman did it, but also the beginning of Cutman, and just a couple other spots. When it's used in a resourceful manner. I'm going to die here. Again, functionally, the enemy works. It reminds me of the green enemies in Glue Man. And like the enemies in Glue Man, they really could have benefited from having an animation when they shoot. So otherwise the bullet just comes out and you get hit. It's kind of annoying. So, she just curb stomped me. But Skyman is a pretty good boss when he's slowed down, I guess. He's still okay. You do have to get used to the lightning. That takes some practice. It's not unfair or anything. What is nice about the boss is he doesn't need any telegraphs for his moves, even though he attacks pretty fast. It's just that his position is already a good signal for what he's going to do next. and it just, like Primal Man, it could just use some streamlining the spaces in between. That attack's pretty fun. Just some good shit going on. I like this. Okay. This is one of, I guess this fight actually is mostly fine, sped up compared to what I'm used to on my computer. So yeah, the normal speed of the fight is actually not too bad. It's just that when he flies to a particular position, sometimes there's not, yeah, like when he flies to the middle of the room, avoiding him is kind of fucking annoying. Everything else is pretty fun to avoid. The lightning attack is pretty epilepsy-inducing and extreme and not very Mega Man 1-ish at all. But shit. But it's not terrible. It has a good way to put it is it has a solid foundation. Just needs some tweaking, I think. A lot of the bosses, I think, have a good foundation for patterns, and they are sufficiently diverse. You know, I'm using the fucking weapons. This is 42. Weapons shine. It's a good thing you can say about it. Might as well, right? Aiming laser. Wrong weapon. Homing laser. Beat Skyman. You got aiming laser. Yeah, and the weapon is an overlay. Okay, my recording crashed halfway through, just as I was getting to Skyman, I believe, so I'm going through it again. Weapons working phenomenally. I just wanted to show off launch missile destroying the spark. Just gonna call them small blurs because that's what they are in Plug Man. It's nice to know that launch missile does destroy them. Weapons typically do what you expect them to, and it's really good. Also, considering Magma Bazooka is sort of, in my opinion, comparatively the weakest weapon in 9, this Paper Slash isn't too bad of an... I'd consider it an improvement. The projectiles move relatively fast, it deals decent damage. Doesn't need that charging bullshit to be effective. Magma Bazooka is an improvement over Atomic Fire, of course, but so is Pharaoh Shot, so... Radiation Ray! Make all the enemies your zombies today. Quite nice. Okay. Yeah, Skyman. Mostly a good pattern. I'll reiterate it. He flies to specific points of the room when he does a specific thing. The transition between them can be a bit awkward on occasion, but other than that, it's a bit of a pattern setting, I'd say. It could just be a bit slower, and the lightning could be less epileptic. Lightning isn't exactly a NES Mega Man 1 thing either. Like, that's not something... You could get away with that with, like... CHR swapping, like if it was part of it, like the tile set, but otherwise there's no way this many sprites could be on screen at once. It just wouldn't, freaking work. Mjolnir. You could just say Mjolnir. I'm kidding. Just in case things go awry. We're not doing Madman first, we're of course doing his evil twin brother. Who's the evil twin though? Whatever. Yeah, Sane Asylum. Not a place I'd suggest making a Mega Man stage. It's pretty dark and edgy, even by 1 and 2's kind of serious tone. Like, this is just comical edge. The straitjacket enemies, combined with the bouncing section, is of course recycled from Sandman. Well, feels like a similar setup to Sandman, except it works a lot better because the enemies have a larger hitbox to land shots in, and it feels more satisfying as a result, I'd say. Enemies we've mostly seen before. They're not completely out of place. Sort of a Cutman-like energy grab, except enemies do scroll back. So it's not a complete non-challenge. I think the original reason, my presumed guess for why a lot of the Mega Man 1 power-ups are out in the open, just kind of out there for you to grab without any real like challenge or obstacle behind it, is and some just in front of you, some in alternate paths like that, is because, looking at the planning docs, the game was originally planned for your health to drain over time. Kind of like Spectre of Torment New Game Plus, I'd say. And so yeah, health had to be there. It's also why I think the game was designed sorta with speed running and going as fast as you can in mind, sorta. But yeah, secret, there's a reason that the wall is open like that. It's because Etc. Man is here, and he can summon quite literally any enemy from the game. Any group of enemies, I guess. Whether they're killable or not. Which is... and then he kind of just does batshit whatever. Oh, not even launch missile kills that, oh no. Conceptually, I think a boss like this is really cool. I think the shots going through him on iframes also works really well for this kind of scenario. Could you... oh my god. But pattern-wise, it's very much a missed opportunity. Because, with enemies, and he's already kind of a sporadic fuck. You can't really avoid his base moves, let alone the enemies, when they're forgivable. It really... a concept like that is so grandiose and big brain and perfect for a secret boss, except, when you're able to summon any enemy from the game, even ones that you haven't even seen yet, cough cough Wily stage, because the enemies themselves have all sorts of patterns and not even all of them are necessarily killable, it would be more beneficial for him to have a whole bunch of different simple moves in accompaniment, so that he can sort of complement the enemies that he's summoning. So he summons a specific group of enemies or a specific type of enemy, and then he can like do a simple jump or a simple run or something like that. Because a concept like that is kind of insane. Okay, I get why it's here. Ha 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 ha. You don't get his weapon. You don't get his weapon. You don't get anything crazy like that. All you get is a cameo of Beck from Mighty Number 9 at the end of the stage. I mean, at the end when you beat the game, the ending, which that aged well. You can tell when this game was frickin' made. It's 2014. The hype train was still going on. That aged like molasses, yeah. I mean, not molasses. Molasses ages pretty well. Aged like milk. But yeah, we get to the real problem of the stage itself. And you could see it earlier. The fucking spikes. Madman likes to plaster them all over the place. And it's part of his spiel, it's part of his gimmick, it's part of his crazy nature. But something like that isn't really an enjoyable gimmick on its own. It's not enough to make the stage stand out. It just makes jumps more annoying. Could have done like a Deathman or a Terror Man thing where the spikes do some kind of unique funky shit, you know? That makes a gimmick. Here it's just tight jumps with extra steps. Yeah. Really not that good of a stage. Oh, and the reason I held off doing this to begin with was, remember how I said this game lags on my other computer? It's because, well, it's specifically a problem. Get this one full screen. It's specifically a problem in this stage where this specific stage lags like hell, and I'm pretty sure it has to do, and this is just a guess, with the spikes. With the spikes all being separate instances. That's my guess. So, another reason to hate the spikes being here. They really just, yeah. They lag the stage on certain computers. Madman himself, after trying and failing a bunch of times, really not that great of a fight. Needleman done wrong? Question mark? It's kind of like Needleman. It's kind of his own thing at the same time. It's just not a good. Just more. He's an eternal boss, basically. And of course, not every 42 boss is an eternal boss, but he has no pattern. The fight works better when it's slowed down, but I think even then still it could benefit from some kind of telegraph or some kind of reactionism, some reaction to your behavior. I mean, might not be thematically fitting, but it would at least make it like a really good, a better pattern. Yeah. Let's see. Insane Cannon is a fun weapon, I guess. I mean, every weapon's pretty darn good. There's just a bit of an overlap between Radiation Ray, Sleeping Sand, and Color Glob, and they're all immobilizing weapons. That's basically that's the game's only problem with the weapons. Other than graphical things like it's not using a shader, so the color overlay. I'll have to save the Wily stages for later. So this is our lucky password for next time. Because, oh shit, all the Wily stages are done at once. crap, now I have to see the stupid-ass intro. Avert your eyes, children. This is the most cursed thing you will ever see. Yeah, that's a good place to Alt F4. It's like the one parodic thing, the one like parody element of the game, other than like the Robot Master names and some of the absurd cons. It really doesn't work as a parody, except in like a couple specific spots. Wily Castle being a Sphinx is kind of cool though. I like that. But we're gonna have to save the Wily stages for next time. And that's where the game, like Eternal, falls to shit. But we'll get there when we get there. Until next time, this is Lava Man, signing off.